converting percents to decimals to fractions and back and forth and back and forth. This lesson will be very important to you. That's all we're going to cover today because I want you to practice, because in our next lesson, we're going to use some form of a percent to solve some word problems, okay? And you can use percents in a lot of different types of problems. So I like to go with the most difficult first, fractions to decimals. We'll go fractions to decimals. I don't think it's that hard, but fractions usually create fear in students. So that's where we're going to start. Let's say I want to take 3/5 and I want to change it to a decimal. Now, actually, this looks scary to some students, but it's going to be very easy if you will remember in a fraction, what does this mean? It means to divide. So what we're going to do is take 3 and divide it by 5. 3 divided by 5, okay? Now, if you need some practice on long division, then just let me know. We'll get you some papers for that. If 5, there are no groups of 5 in 3, and so we need some more numbers out here. You don't make up your numbers, but the decimal in a number is always at the end. It's another invisible thing. And after the decimal, you can add as many zeros as you want to, depending on how far you want to go out. So 5 wouldn't go into 3, but 5 will go into 30 6 times. Now the decimal that's in the problem goes up here. And 6 times 5 is 30. And we have nothing left over. Okay, and after the decimal, there can be as many zeros as you want. This is fine. It doesn't change anything. So your decimal equivalent to 3/5 is simply 0.6. Now, the proper way is to always have a number in the ones column. And so if you don't have anything in front, then you can put a 0. Okay, that's probably how you will see the answers in the answer sheet. Okay, I forget sometimes, so you'll have to let me know. I just do 0.6. Okay, but this means the same thing. Easy enough, right? Okay, how about if you all do 9/10 while I am erasing this other? I want to know the decimal equivalent to this. Knowing that this means divide, we're simply going to divide. And some of you are at the point that long division is difficult, okay? Now what I want you to do is go to your calculator. This is just in case it's not on the first 5 of your test. And you can put 9 divided by 10, or there is a fraction button on your calculator that looks like this. It has a little box and it has this. It's toward the top and a little bit to the left of the middle. Do you see this button? Randy, do you see this button? Mm-hmm. And then you can put 9 and use your arrow key and put a 10. You're okay, Mary, right? And when you press enter, Mary, then just use your toggle. And does it change it?
So we have to put the 0 before?
Does it put the 0 before on your calculator?
Yes.
Yes. The 0 before is probably the more proper way to write it. Okay. Did she show you the toggle switch?
No, I did not.
We
It's
love the
arrows.
toggle switch. Now, after she put that fraction in, she needs to press enter first. That is the equals, Brandy. See how it changed?
Yeah.
Now hit the toggle switch again.
Erase back.
Did it go back to 9/10?
Yep.
See, that toggle switch is magic. I love the toggle switch. It'll go back and forth between a fraction and a decimal. And the kicker here is when it changes to a fraction, it will change to the lowest possible, simplified to the lowest
And we use that a lot, don't we?
lot.
Because I've been seeing that a lot.
A lot,
Okay.
yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip because I think you see this. Now I want to give you a decimal and move back to a fraction. Okay, now, when we very first started the lessons for this curriculum this time, we talked about place value in the decimals. The place value, I think there's something up at the very top up there. Do you see where the decimal is? And there's the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds. But if you go to the right of the decimal, there's the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths. Okay, so, and for those of you that are watching remotely, we talked about decimal places. This is the ones, this is the tens, this is the hundreds, and so on. Now, past the decimal on the right-hand side is not the ones again. It starts with the tenths. And the hundredths. And the thousandths. If you need to review this, I'll leave it up for a minute. And so on this way. 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, and so on. These are the normal ones that we'll use. So now, if I have, a decimal that I said is okay, here's a decimal. I want it changed to a fraction. Here's how you do it. I'm going to change this decimal to a fraction. Okay? Now what you do is you look at the very last decimal place. Okay, look at the very last one. What place is this in? It's in the hundredths. So what you're going to write is this over 100. It's 36 100ths. Do you see? We use this place, the last place that you see. And then you write the whole number. 36 hundredths place. 36 hundredths place, right? Now we know that this isn't in the lowest terms yet. It's not simplified. And so if we do this by hand, we know that it ends in an even number. We can divide it by 2, but we can also see both of these will divide by 4. So you have to, when you're simplifying a fraction, you have to divide the top and the bottom by the same number. So we have to find something that will divide into both of these. So we're going to divide by 4 and divide by 4. And now we have 9. 36 divided by 4 is 9. 100 divided by 4 is 25. This is a simplified fraction for this decimal. So first of all, you're going to read this, look at the last spot, write the whole number over the last spot, and then simplify. Now, just for practice, especially Brandy, put in 36 over 100 into your calculator as a fraction. Now, you can either put it in as just a 36 divided by 100, or you can use that fraction button. Whichever one you choose, it will do this.
And then enter.
Yes.
It's 9 over
See,
25.
it will give you the simplified version, but you need to know how to do it by hand too. I don't know what they'll put on those first 5. And this is a possibility. Are we good? How about that, Sherry? You doing all right?
No, because that's the second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Let's do another one of these. How about 0.455? Change this to a fraction, please. Look at the last spot.
Okay, that's right.
Is this what you got so far? Okay. And then if it ends in a 5 or a 0, you know you can divide by 5. So try dividing by 5 before you use the calculator to find the lowest terms, and then use your calculator to check it. Okay, so divide the top and the bottom by 5. They will.
I can use the calculator.
Do as much as you can without a calculator, but feel free to use your calculator. I don't judge. By the time you're to this point, you can use your calculators. I just want you to know how to do the math. Did you check my work, Mary? Is this correct?
Yeah.
Good. You're welcome to use your calculator.
I'm gonna try not to.
I like for you to do both because I want you to be ready for the first 5 questions, but I want you to know how amazing this calculator is and it'll help you so much on the test, okay? So when you get here, did you put it over 1,000 because that's the
Yes.
thousandths place?
Yes.
Put that in your calculator and let's look at it.
I went and did 91 times it by 5 to check it.
To check it, and it
And
worked.
it went from 455.
Good. Don't you love the toggle switch already?
Yes.
Love it, love it. All right. Now, there's another one that you might see, and I want to make sure that we cover that before we go to the percent. Actually, going from fraction or decimal to a percent is the easiest one. So we'll pass that in a minute. But what if you have 2.3 and I want you to change that to an equivalent fraction?
Into a fraction.
So again, we're going to look at the last place, right? And it's the 10th place, then we put the whole number over it. 23 tenths.
Do we still put the decimal in there?
No, ma'am, because the tenths takes the place of that decimal.
Okay.
23 tenths. Whenever you have a number, a whole number in front of the decimal, then you know you're going to have what we call an improper fraction or a top-heavy fraction. The top will be more than the bottom because this is more than 1, right? And just to make sure, this is the lowest terms, but what if your answer choices are in mixed fractions? What would you do here?
Simplify it.
Yes, we would need to change it to a mixed fraction. You just divide it out, or this is easier. The 2 out in front is going to be a big 2. And then what is this?
It would be a 3 over 10.
3 over 10.
I always was wondering how to get the big number out. So you just take it from the side and put it
Mhm.
the other one there.
The number in front will be the big number. Okay, we got a mixed fraction here, okay? And the way we did that is the number out in front stays a big whole number.
Okay.
And then we just do this part. It's 3 in the 10th place. Y'all see? So 2 and 3 tenths is exactly the same as 23 tenths. This is in top-heavy form, or it's called improper fraction. This is a mixed fraction.
Okay.
And when you're ready, I can show you how to get the calculator to do that too.
Okay.
Okay? So, are you guys okay with going fraction to decimal? Decimal to fraction? Decimal to fraction is just look at this place value and put it over, and then simplify, okay? And fraction to decimal means I divide it, okay? Because fraction says divide. Now, let's go decimal to percent. And I told you it's easiest, and it is. Here's 0.14. Okay? Now here's a decimal. I want to go to a percent. Now, simple. If you have a decimal, you want to change to a percent, move the decimal 2 places to the right. Done. 1, 2, always 2. So now the decimal's here, and it's 14%.
Okay. I was trying to figure that out.
Move the decimal 2 places always.
So backwards for
This
percent.
one's called what?
Moving from a decimal to a percent. Decimal to percent. Move the decimal 2 places to the right. So what about this one? I skipped to something that's usually confusing, but use the rule I just gave you. If you have a decimal, I want to change to a percent. What do I do, Mary?
Move 2 places to the right.
2 places to the right. So I go 1, 2. This is where the decimal is now. And it's 381.4%. The rule applies no matter what. Wherever the decimal is in a decimal number, move it 2 places to the right to get a percent. Every time. What if you see something that looks like this? Oops. Change that to a percent.
Okay. Wouldn't it be?
Where's the decimal if it doesn't show?
It's
It's
on the left.
the right side.
It's always at the end. So here's my decimal. If I want to change to a percent, I have to move 2 to the right. The rule stays. So I go 1, 2, here's my new decimal, that's gone, and I fill it up with zeros. So I have
Okay.
700%.
Because that is on the computer on the test,
Mhm.
and it has your percentages.
Mhm.
That's the one I always forget.
Decimal to percent, 2 places to the right. Decimal to percent, 2 places to the right. You ready for me to mess your brain up?
No, it's already messed up.
Let's go percent to decimal.
That was 700 point.
Yes, but I didn't put the point there. You know, if it's at the end, we just don't put it. But you can, and it doesn't make it wrong.
Okay.
Now, what if I have 71% and I want a decimal?
It would be,
You do 2 in front of the 7.
Yes,
so.
we
Yeah,
just go
'cause it's
backwards,
two,
right?
right.
We're just gonna go backwards. It's normally here, we're gonna go here. So our decimal equivalent is 71.71.
I can't believe I got that.
I can now change that to a fraction. Change that to a fraction.
7/1.
No, look at the place value now.
Be 1/7. No.
Okay,
All right.
the last number in this,
Oh,
what
yeah.
place is it in?
10. 10.
Which place is it in?
100.
Hundreds. So you name the number
Okay.
and the place value.
So it'd be 71/100.
There you go.
Okay.
And then you check it to see if it will simplify at all. In this case, it won't. Okay, so this is your answer. So if they give you a percent and they want you to change it to a fraction, the easiest way is change it to a decimal and then to a fraction. Okay? Sometimes you need to do that middle part to help you get to the end. Do you see? If they just give you this and say change it to a fraction, you go, Now, another clue here, this is to help you out. Percent, the percent sign means over 100. So if I'm looking at this, I can say to myself, 71%, or I can say 71 over 100. You can read the percent sign as over 100 every time.
That's kind of giving it away.
Uh-huh. What do y'all think? So notice how we go backwards, 71 over 100. If I'm given this and I need to come here, I divide 71 divided by 100, and that will give me a decimal. And if they're given a decimal and I want a percent, I just move the decimal twice and it gives me a percent.
And is that the reason you're able to do that 71 over 100 by the percent sign is because there's only 2 numbers?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think you might be asking something else, so let me do this.
Because if there was 3, then it would be the 100 and 1,000.
Well, if it has a percent sign, it will still be percent. Is this what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, then this will be 84,
Over
Oh.
1,000.
nope. Percent is always over 100.
Oh.
Percent means over 100, no matter what. Now, here's one you probably won't see all the time, but I want you to see it right here. What if you have then you have to be very, very careful if you want to change this to a fraction. Okay, let's say we're changing to a fraction. Okay, so that means exactly this. Because this means over 100. Okay, now we can get into more of this, like the simplifying, but I don't want you to get bogged down in this piece.
Okay.
I just want you to see all the options. This always means over 100.
No
Always.
matter how many numbers is there.
No matter what this looks like.
Okay.
Okay, now let's do this. Change this to a decimal. Be careful. Change this to the decimal equivalent. It's a percent right now. How do we go back to a decimal?
You go move 2 to the right.
It already is a percent. So
So
you
you
don't,
go 2 to the left.
yes, yes. And this
we
is,
put zeros there.
so there and there. You're awesome, Brandy. So when I moved, then my decimal equivalent will actually be yes, because it already was percent, I've got to move it backwards. Wherever it is, a percent is moving that decimal 2 places, either left or right. Okay? Percent is always over 100. Percent always moves the decimal twice. Now, whichever direction, you're going to have to figure out how to memorize that yourself. Okay? I do stuff like, if it was percent already, I want to take this off, so I'm going to move it twice. I don't know. You just have to figure out your little story. So, are you ready to try it?
Yeah.
Remember that if you have a problem going here to here, always remember you can go here to here to here. Okay? If you need to do a middle step, then that's fine. Chelsea, I think you have it and you have it written down. It's going to be much better when you practice. Okay? Sherry, you should have gotten the percent homework, did you?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Some of those pages, my stuff didn't print off a answer key to them.
It should have been on the back.
Like,
Okay, but
don't
turn it over. The answers are on the back, aren't they? Did you get the answers on the back, Sherry?
don't judge me next. I ain't got my face on. I won't show you. The ones. So the ones that look like this,
Yes, ma'am.
they didn't. I didn't have the answer key with those,
Really?
and it was
So-
right many of them, and I'm like, where's the answer key at? So I don't
Okay.
know. Maybe I need to go back and try to reprint it, but all the
No,
ones that,
don't go back and try to reprint it. Those were kind of weird, and so what I had to do is print them out, and then I had to write the answers out myself, and
Oh.
then I put all that together for my classroom sets, but I may very well have left off the answers for the ones that I sent. So let me go back to my files and I will send you another set that has the answers with it, okay?
okay, all right,
I'll have to figure out how to do it, so it might be a little while.
that's fine.
I'll try to make it today, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Do you want to stay on with us or do you want to start practicing?
I might just get off and work some. Yesterday, well, I guess you'll answer questions tomorrow on the stuff we've done this week, right?
I don't mind to do it right now. I just
Well,
forgot to ask.
Yesterday, I tried working on the compound equalities,
Uh-huh.
and I know how to work it out. But on the ones that says and we're
Yes, ma'am.
supposed to overlap,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't understand the overlapping.
Okay.
I know
All
how to
right.
find it on the number lines. I know how to find where it's supposed to be on each number line, but where you overlap it, I'm lost because I don't understand.
Okay. What some of my students do in that case, let me see if I can do this for you. Since you know how to get it on the separate number lines, then I'm not going to do a whole problem right now. Okay.
Okay,
Let's say that this number line, let's just do everything on one number line. Okay.
okay,
Let's say that the first answer, colors. I hope you can see the different colors. Let's just do this. And let's say that's one of them, okay? Now, yesterday I put it on top and bottom. I'm going to put both of them the same on the number line, but I'm going to use different colors, okay? Now,
okay.
the other one, let's say it was this, and it's colored all the way this way, right?
Yes.
Now, look at this. This is just yellow or green or whatever it is. This is just white. So this isn't part of it, and this isn't part of the actual answer. The only part of the answer is where there is white and yellow, where they overlap each other. So from here to here is the actual answer. So maybe if you use like a red and a blue when
And
you
just
graph.
and just do one line.
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
where the colors overlap each other, that's the only part that is the answer.
Okay.
You think that might help?
Yes. Yes. Because
A lot of my students use map colors to do this.
Okay.
And I will answer questions again tomorrow if you're still having trouble with that.
Okay.
And a reminder, there won't be a YouTube video for Fridays, but I will open a Zoom for as long as you guys want tomorrow. Any questions?
No. Okay. I've got plenty of work to do this weekend.
Yeah. Yes, I wouldn't want you to get bored or anything.
No, I'm not gonna get bored.